Welcome back, family. Before the video starts, I just want to thank all my channel members for the support. How to avoid a serial killer.
According to serial killer Danny Rolling, here's a list of things you can do to avoid being murdered by a serial killer.
Wow, that sounds
Park your
crazy.
car in the light. Buy yourself a .38 caliber revolver. Get a permit to carry it on your person and keep it in your handbag where it's easy to get to. Buy some mace on a keychain and have it ready when you get out of your car. If your bedroom window doesn't have a screen, get one and nail it to the windowsill.
Wow.
Place a bunch of empty glass bottles in the windows. Get you some curtains. Buy a deadbolt and put it on your bedroom door so you can lock yourself in.
Wow.
Sleep with your .38 caliber revolver under your pillow. It won't go off by accident. If someone bothers you, don't ever let an attacker get control. Fight for your life. Scream as loud as you can. Spray mace in his face. Kick him in the balls. Scratch at his eyes. Pull out your .38 caliber and blow him away. Danny Rolling, also known as the Gainesville Ripper, murdered 5 college students in Florida in 1990, breaking into their apartments at night and targeting them while they were alone. He was later captured, sentenced to death, and executed by lethal injection in 2006.
It's crazy that certain serial killers target certain individuals. For example, John Wayne Gacy, he specifically targeted young males. Ted Bundy, as we know, specifically targeted females. And this dude that we just saw specifically targeted alone college kids.
Future faking. Future faking is a manipulation tactic where someone makes elaborate promises about the future they never intend to keep. They paint vivid pictures of trips you'll take together, dreams you'll build, goals you'll achieve as a team. At first, it feels like hope. They talk about moving in together, getting married, starting that business, finally going on that vacation you've always wanted. The promises are specific enough to feel real. They might even plan details, look at houses online, or talk about baby names. Your brain latches onto these promises because they feel like commitment. You start organizing your life around a future they've described. You turn down opportunities, stay in situations that hurt you, or excuse bad behavior because you're investing in what's coming. But the future never arrives. When you bring up the promises, they get vague. The timeline shifts. Suddenly it's not the right time, or circumstances changed, or you're being too pushy. The goalposts move, but the promises keep coming. New ones replace the old ones, each just as detailed, just as convincing. This keeps you hoping, waiting, stuck in a cycle of disappointment masked as patience. Future faking works because humans are wired to trust patterns and words. When someone describes a future with you, your brain begins treating it as real. You make sacrifices for something that only ever existed in conversation. The promises aren't plans. They're tools to keep you compliant, distracted, and emotionally invested while they get what they need right now.
My toxic trait is just never believing someone when they tell me something about the future. Like, I can't believe people are on her side. I loved him very much.
Not gonna lie, I don't really understand what this video is meant to represent. Nonetheless, this is a very real case and a disturbing one. This video here has 2 sides. We first see a smiling image of a couple, Jodi Arias and Travis, with the caption here, "I love him very much." The next image here shows just Jodi in a court scene, and we can see "I loved him very much," emphasis on the past tense. For context, in June of 2008, Jodi Arias took the life of her then boyfriend,
Wow.
Travis Alexander, while he was in the shower. This act here was driven by obsession, jealousy, and rage after he broke up with her and she could not handle the rejection. Their relationship was extremely tumultuous. She had stalked him multiple times while he was going out with other people. The method of taking his life was absolutely brutal, stabbing him 30 times, using a firearm, and also cutting down his throat. Given how toxic of an individual she is, honestly, I don't think that she ever really loved him. I think that she's just a very controlling, manipulative, and terrible person.
Guaranteed. I saw this report the other day that said the highest rates of domestic violence in relationships come from women-on-women couples, while the lowest come from men-on-men couples.
Highest divorce rates, 2 women. Lowest divorce rates, 2 men. Highest rates of domestic violence, 2 women. Lowest rates of domestic violence, 2 men. 75 to 80% of divorces filed by women. Top reasons: boredom, unhappiness, no longer compatible.
You know what they do with their smartest people? Cancel, cancel, cancel. Dopamine block, dopamine block, dopamine block. They get the ideas from you. They get the design. They get the prototype that works the first time you turn it on. And then they cancel it and they take it a level deeper. Because the fact is, it's a waste of your time. If you're a problem solver, if you solve impossible problems, it's a waste of your time to optimize a problem you've already solved for application. So what they do, you solve the impossible problem, and then they cancel it in the white world. They move it a level deeper. A level deeper, they optimize it for the secret application, and they give you a new problem. And then they cancel it. And then they give you a new problem, and then they cancel it. And a new problem, and they cancel it. And they psychologically abuse you into seeking the dopamine of the satisfaction of reward. And they use you as an idea factory. That's what they do to their smartest people. Because if they reward you with success, you rest on your laurels. I'm so fucking smart, I never have to try again. But if they cancel, you're constantly trying.
She said you're constantly trying to prove yourself. And it kind of makes sense, because if you just achieve something, you're going to feel like, yo, I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I'm good. But if they keep canceling it and lowering you, you got to keep trying to prove that you could be better.
Watch this. This video is a perfect example showing what each of these animals is like and what their personalities are like, because a Canadian goose is known to be aggressive. If you've ever been around them, you have probably seen how they don't shy away from humans much. They'll actually kind of come towards you and sometimes even charge, especially if there is like a mate or they have some babies around. They do not give their ground easily, and they're just known to be aggressive towards animals even much bigger than them. And then a beaver is pretty much just an unbothered engineer. They do what they do. They put their head down. They usually are messing with some type of wood, or just scrounging around on the ground eating some things. And as you see, the goose swims up to that beaver, hisses at him, kind of pecks at him, and the beaver literally never looks at the goose. Like, he could not care less about the goose. And the goose finally is like, whatever, and swims around and leaves. But I just think this is a perfect example to show how a goose might be very aggressive for no reason, and then a beaver is just unbothered in pretty much all scenarios.
I guess we could say the beaver didn't give a damn. Boom.
In China, 20 scientists that are missing that are studying the same things. Yo, what the fuck is going on, bro? No, and all of these guys, a military AI expert, a chemist, data scientist, a space expert, a drone expert, hypersonics expert. This is all about space. It's the first one to figure this out. That's why they're trying to keep everyone. Oh. Because now it's a race. Because China wants to win the war. Remember what we were talking about? Yeah. If you get this tech, you win the war. Who's gonna want this? Korea, oh my God. China. The US is also in this.
What? Yo, theory right now?
Yeah.
What if this is all for time travel?
Yeah.
Oh my God, because once you do that, then you can stop everything else.
Everything.
Or, oh my God, what if they already figured out time travel?
Yeah.
And they're taking out all the people that could stop it?
Wait, what if? Or they're trying to go to the future so then they can establish their land, their society.
That's true.
So then the people come in from this time.
Oh, and then take them there.
Yeah, it'll be ready for the future people when they get to that time.
Type
you know what I mean?
Type shit, yeah.
Moral licensing. Moral licensing is a manipulation tactic where someone does one good thing, then uses it as permission to do something harmful. They build up credit through a kind gesture, then cash it in to justify bad behavior. At first, they do something thoughtful. They help you with a project, listen to you vent, buy you a gift, or apologize for past mistakes. You feel grateful. The gesture registers as proof they care, that they're trying, that things are improving. Then they use that goodness as a shield. After being kind once, they feel entitled to be cruel. They snap at you, ignore your boundaries, or do something selfish. When you object, they point back to the good deed. Remember when they helped you? Remember how much they've sacrificed? That one act of kindness becomes a weapon to silence your complaints. You start second-guessing yourself. Maybe you're being ungrateful. Maybe you're focusing too much on the negative. They did something nice, so perhaps you should tolerate the harm. Your standards lower because the good moment gets used to erase multiple bad ones. Over time, the ratio becomes absurd. One apology covers 10 insults. One favor justifies weeks of neglect. They do the bare minimum of decency, then leverage it endlessly. Moral licensing works because people want to believe in fairness. If someone does something good, it feels wrong to call them bad. But morality doesn't work like a bank account. Kindness doesn't purchase the right to harm. Goodness can't be stockpiled and spent. Each action stands.
An FAA employee in New Hampshire has been arrested for threatening to kill the president. 35-year-old used their work computer to search things like how to smuggle a gun into a federal building and research about previous assassination attempts. And if that wasn't enough, on April 21st, authorities say the man sent this email, I'll put it on screen right now, to
Dean Dale, I don't know how to say that last name, am going to neutralize / kill Donald John Trump because you decided to kill kids. Wow.
a White House account. If found guilty, the man could be fined $250,000 and may be facing 5 years in prison.
That's crazy. Imagine being a world leader and some of the people that work for you, like military workers and stuff like that, want to turn on you. That's how you know it's cooked.
Okay, breaking news. This is what we're currently dealing with. That is one of the 3 suspected hantavirus patients who were evacuated off of the ship just a few hours ago, and they're off to get medical treatment in the Netherlands. That leaves a total of 146 people remaining from 23 different countries on board. And also, big update, health officials from Argentina think they may have now traced down the original source of this outbreak. Now, the AP report that it may have been the Dutch couple who contracted this virus while visiting a landfill during a bird watching tour in Argentina. It's also believed that that was the elderly couple who had passed away, both of them, one of which on the way home. The WHO are also tracing around 69 close contacts of the people who had previously been on the ship but left before anyone suspected a virus may have been present. They're also urging passengers who took this flight from St. Helena to Johannesburg on April the 25th to contact health authorities. But the tricky part in all of this is that this is a virus that can lay dormant up to 8 weeks. So I'll keep you guys updated as we know more.
It's always scary with the viruses that lay dormant because you never know. Like, you could have contacted something like 10 weeks ago, which is pretty much like 2 months ago, and you won't know until 2 months later. You have no idea how to track it.
Victim reversal. Victim reversal is a manipulation tactic where someone flips the situation to make themselves look like the injured party when they're actually the one causing harm. They turn your pain into their persecution. At first, you express a legitimate hurt. They did something that upset you, crossed a boundary, or broke your trust. You bring it up calmly, hoping for acknowledgement or an apology. Instead, they crumble. Suddenly, they're the one who's suffering. You've attacked them. You've made them feel terrible. How could you be so cruel? They cry, shut down, or lash out in self-defense. Your concern for them kicks in automatically. You shift from seeking an apology to offering one. The conversation that started with your pain ends with you comforting them. Your issue gets buried under their emotional reaction. Over time, you stop bringing things up. Every attempt to address harm results in you apologizing for hurting their feelings. You learn that your pain causes them distress, so expressing it feels selfish. You swallow grievances to keep the peace. They've trained you to protect their emotions at the cost of your own. Victim reversal works because most people are wired for empathy. When someone shows distress, your instinct is to help, even if their distress is a performance designed to dodge accountability. They weaponize your compassion, turning every confrontation into a referendum on your cruelty. You become the villain in a story where you were trying to heal. Accountability disappears because the person who caused harm successfully rebrands themselves as the one who's wounded.
I'm not gonna lie, chat, I never have really felt for any victim reversal.
POV, your boyfriend is anti-microwave. Dude, what sort of contraption is this? I swear, whenever I see someone who's afraid of one of these, it's because they don't really understand how a microwave works. But I do, and I'm going to explain it to you in very simple terms that you can understand. So a regular oven heats up food from the outside in. A microwave kind of does the opposite. Microwaves work by sending invisible waves of energy into the food and vibrating the water molecules until it heats up. So think about it. When you rub your hands together, that creates heat. Exact same concept applies with this water. Quick little side note I thought of while editing this video. This is the same reason why a paper towel or a ceramic plate will not heat up no matter how long it is in the microwave. It's because the water content is so incredibly low. There's no water to vibrate and heat up. But Blake, what about the radiation it emits? Well, not all radiation is considered dangerous or even harmful. Like, at the end of the day, the visible spectrum, visible light is considered radiation. So if you are not in a completely dark room right now, you're exposed to radiation. So this is the electromagnetic spectrum. I hope you all remember this from elementary school, but it's basically a chart that divides things into their level of radiation or their frequency. So something that's extremely high frequency and dangerous could be like a nuclear bomb, or something low frequency that's perfectly safe could be like an AM radio. The way it works is basically we can draw a line right here, and anything below that certain frequency contains no negative effect on the human body. We don't even notice it. So things like radio waves or Wi-Fi or microwaves have no damage done to the body. And if you want to get really technical, a light bulb literally has more energy than a microwave. If your mom's like mine and scared of the microwave, dude, send her this video. It probably won't convince her, but it should.
I feel like a lot of people hear the word radiation and immediately just think bad.
Trump was in one of his like legislation meetings or something. There's this woman, she's dressed in red, okay? Her eyes and her face, her eyes literally change.
I think I know which video you're talking about.
Her eyes literally change, bro.
Teaching this dog to speak made it self-aware. This dog Bunny was taught to speak using a mat with buttons. Basically, it taps a button and that button will say a certain word. Now at first, Bunny would use the mat to say cute stuff like love you mom, but recently Bunny has started to use the speaking mat in a more concerning way. You see, in a recent video, Bunny used the mat to make the statement, I human. And when Bunny's mom corrected Bunny saying, no Bunny, you're a dog, Bunny refused to believe this and simply said no. Now this isn't the first concerning thing that Bunny has used the mat to say. A while back, Bunny told its mom that there was a stranger in the house when there was actually nobody there. And teaching Bunny to speak has actually had some other unintended consequences, because Bunny learning to speak via this mat has actually caused Bunny to have to go on to antidepressants, I guess to cope with the fact that it's not human.
This image depicts Adam and Eve at the tree of knowledge of good and evil. I mean, look at this tree. This is clearly a mushroom with mushrooms growing out of it, and they are covering themselves with mushroom caps. Now, in a lot of these ancient cultures across Mexico, Guatemala, like the Mayans, the indigenous people of America, they saw the mushroom as a spiritual entity, something that enhanced your consciousness and brought you closer to the creator. And that is why they depicted it in all of these ancient paintings and depictions. I mean, from the stained glass to the trees that are literally mushrooms and mushrooms growing out of the ground. Like, look at these pictures. I mean, they even put white Jesus handing out mushrooms. They have Jesus with the old halo and mushrooms underneath of him. All through Mexico and Guatemala, they had these mushroom stones. These stones signified the bridging from the spiritual world to the external world. All throughout the Americas, mushrooms has had a significant meaning. In all of these ancient cultures, they saw mushrooms as a good thing. Now let's bring this into the Bible. In the beginning of the Bible, it talks about the forbidden fruit and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Okay, here's Genesis 3. But God did say, you must not eat the fruit from the tree that is in the middle of the garden, and you must not touch it, or you will die. You will certainly not die. For the serpent said to the woman, for God knows that when you will eat it, from it your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. So the serpent said, for when you eat it, your eyes will be opened, and you will know good from evil. You will be like God. Now, I want you to know the serpent from the tree of life. By the way, the tree of life is within you, as within, so without. Your spine signifies the tree of life. There is such thing called the Kundalini energy, the serpent energy. The forbidden fruit is psychedelic mushrooms. That is what they are talking about. The mushrooms were seen as something sacred, something that brought you closer to the Creator. And if you've tried mushrooms, you know this. It removes the veil over your eyes. You do see good from evil. And a lot of these shamans and spiritual teachers in ancient times wore the turban or the headdress because it signified higher consciousness. It was supposed to look like a mushroom cap. These indigenous spiritual teachers knew the power of mushrooms. They knew the power of this fruit. In ancient Egypt, the white crown was meant to depict the mushroom cap because they saw this as the flesh of gods, because when it rains, the seed, the mushrooms grew. The most intelligent organism on this planet, the psychedelic mushroom. Mushrooms have always had a sacred place with the indigenous people of Eagle Land. If you found any of this insightful, follow for more. Love you guys.
There's no way out of this. There's no way out of this up situation. My ex-boyfriend and I realized that people had been breaking into our apartment. And so like, I'm in the apartment, I'm about to go to work, and I'm like, why don't you take out the trash and scope out the parking lot and make sure it's okay before I go to work? So he goes out there and he's like, there's this weird Lexus and it has tinted windows that are not street legal. He comes back in and we're standing in our bedroom window looking at the Lexus and talking about it. And I say out loud, maybe we should walk over there later and take a picture of the license plate. Within 2 minutes, an Eastern European looking mother with a black beanie, dressed all in black, in his 50s or 60s, walked out of the apartment directly across from ours holding a license plate. And he changed the license plate right in front of our faces. And then he walked back to his apartment and he put the old license plate on the front patio and went inside, left it outside. And it was literally like, come get the license plate. I have more. After that, the Lexus started tailing me. And every time I saw the Lexus, it had a different license plate. Even
why is
my
she
ex
blinking
called
so
an
much?
Uber once. The Lexus pulled out from the spot across the parking lot from our apartment.
Oh my God.
Drove over to our apartment and said, hey, I'm your Uber here to pick you up. The license matched in the Uber app. I'm scared. I'm tired. I'm real tired. I need to disclose soon, man. I need to publish soon because it's like escalating. It's getting more and more aggressive. Like over the past, this has been going on for like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. And over the past 12 months, it's been like escalating, like more aggressive, more invasive, digging through my pantage, like digging through my underwear drawer and sexual threats. And now I'm like, I have to publish because like, it's only going to get worse until I publish.
I don't know if it's just me, but her blinking patterns were so weird. Like she would just blink, blink, then do like a flurry of blinking and then blink, blink, then like another flurry. I'm like, bro, why are you blinking like 10 times in the span of 1 second? Like that was weird. Let me know what you guys think about that.
A group of Finnish Air Force cadets are now in trouble after drawing certain shaped objects during a training flight. This happened on Monday the 13th during a flight meant for practicing turns, and practicing turns they did, but also had some fun with sky art. And it wasn't just one, at least 4 cadets were involved, and the Air Force later confirmed that the pilots would suffer, quote, disciplinary consequences. Wow. I say it's just a bit of fun.
I don't know how to feel about this because Harvard scientists recreated a 3D model of what Mary, the mother of Jesus, would look like. This person looks awfully familiar, and this is, and I quote, based on historical data from the 1st century Middle Eastern woman. I mean, it looks like Lady Gaga. It looks like Lady Gaga. Like, literally, compare this to this. I don't quite know how to feel about this. I think mainly because Lady Gaga's not Middle Eastern, but maybe Middle Eastern women look different in the 1st century. I don't know, it's kind of crazy. To the Harvard scientists who put this out, would you like to confirm or deny?
She did look like Lady Gaga, but at the same time, like, maybe Lady Gaga have a Middle Eastern ancestor that we just don't know about.
Guys, somebody was just caught buying baby food from supermarkets and then putting rat poison inside of the jars and then putting it back on the shelf. Wow. And they did it across 3 different countries. So police just officially arrested a 39-year-old man who was walking in the grocery stores buying jars of baby food off of the shelf and then filling them with rat poison.
In Austria are warning parents to stay alert after a jar of baby food was found contaminated with rat poison.
And then he returned the jars to the exact same shelf so that parents would end up buying it. 5 different confirmed poisoned jars were found across multiple different stores before anybody could consume them, which is obviously great. And the reason why all of this is happening is because the guy sent the baby food company a blackmail email demanding 2 million euros in cryptocurrency. And he told them within the email that if they did not pay within 6 days, he would start poisoning their products on store shelves. They obviously didn't pay, and he actually followed through. The brand is called Hip, and it's actually the #1 baby food brand in all of Europe. They have now recalled every single thing across Austria, Slovakia, and the Czech Republic. A customer was able to spot a jar that looked a little bit weird, and they found it before any babies were hurt, but this guy was fully ready for it to happen, and they just caught him yesterday.
This is exactly why whenever I go to the store, I make sure that whatever I'm about to buy is completely sealed. For example, there was this trend going on the internet like 2, 3, 4 years ago where they used to open ice cream and lick the inside. Nowadays, if my ice cream doesn't have like that layer over it that proves that it hasn't been tampered with, I will not get it.
Where, baby? Get ice cream. Let me taste it. Let me taste it. Alright, hurry up, put it back. Hurry up, put it back. Come on, let's run, let's run.
Did you know that a 17-year-old intern at NASA discovered a new planet? Well, now you know. 17-year-old discovered a planet 6.9 times larger than Earth on third day of internship at NASA. If I worked at NASA, I would be pissed off, because what do you mean this kid has only been here for 3 days and he already discovered a new planet? I've been here for 25 years and I've been looking at the same ugly-ass, dusty-ass planets, stars, and moons and shit. And the planet he found looks like an Easter egg. Now, you know this is space, so even if it looks pretty, it's still bad. All those colors are probably just a bunch of toxins and noxious gases mixing up together. This is Wolf Kokier, by the way. If I pronounce your name wrong, I do apologize. But he's the one who discovered that festive-looking planet. The planet is called TOI 1338b. Y'all could have called it something else. Let's think of a better name for this planet. It looks like a bunch of wet paint dripping on a paper. Call it the wet paint paper planet. Call it Crayola. Well, Crayola makes crayons. Why doesn't Crayola make paint? I feel like that's a missed opportunity. But I'm going off on a tangent. Anyway, that's your new planet that a teenager discovered. Do you like it? Let me know in the comments.
2 B-52 test aircraft will soon be fitted with brand new Rolls-Royce engines that will take these aircraft into 100 years of service. The B-52 engine program recently held its critical design review that gives the green light for 2 B-52s to be modified. They'll be fitted with Rolls-Royce F-130 engines, which are much more modern and efficient. Once completed, the new variant of the B-52 will now be known as the B-52J. And like I said, 100 years. The oldest B-52 currently in service entered in 1960, and this modernization program plans to keep B-52s in service to the 2050s or 2060s.
Why in the world would United States government officials be briefing pastors about aliens?
A large number of pastors that had been invited to go to a certain state to hear some men in the United States government and others share with them a concerning aliens and concerning unidentified flying object spacecraft, that some of the people who were in the meeting were telling us as pastors, you need to prepare your people and you need to get ready to answer them for what you're about to hear being released.
Maybe it has to do with the fact that J.D. Vance says that he believes aliens are demons. And why Trump's spiritual advisor said just a day ago that decisions are being made inside the White House that have left her shaken and deeply fearful about the future. Quote, it's absolutely hell hounding you in every way you can imagine. So let me get this straight. Scientists and UFO experts in the United States and China have all recently mysteriously died or gone missing, and now the government is telling pastors what to tell you about aliens. What could go wrong? As always, I want to hear what you think about all of this down below.
You want to know about the biological effects of cannibalism? Of course you do. And I want to tell you, so let's answer some questions about the biological effects of cannibalism. Now, for a little recap, if you commit cannibalism and you eat specifically the brains or any part of the spinal cord, you could contract this thing called Kuru disease. Kuru disease being a very deadly brain disease that's transmitted by these things called prions. Prions being proteins in your body that are misfolded or folded incorrectly, because proteins are finicky and they need to be folded properly in order to do their job. Now, not all prions are bad, however, there are different types of prions, both good and bad and neutral. One of those prions being the prion that causes Kuru disease, another prion being a very well-known one that causes mad cow disease. Now, with this information, you're probably thinking, well, if someone were to eat everything except the brain, would they be safe? Well, if you don't eat the brain or the spinal cord, you're pretty safe from Kuru disease. However, like with all meat, improper cooking methods can result in viruses and bacteria spreading to you. Along with parasites, and I don't mean the wellness industry type parasites, I mean actual parasites, like a tapeworm. Now, going back to proper cooking methods, because at the end of the day, you should probably not eat other humans, but moving on to cooking methods because we're sadistic, all we have to do in order to be safe is cook the brains, right? Because heat denatures or breaks apart proteins, right? Well, yes about protein denaturation, but no about it being safe if you cook it. As according to both the Virginia Department of Wildlife and the North Dakota Department of Environmental Quality, you would need to absolutely scorch that meat.
Wow.
As in order to denature a prion, you need anywhere between 900 and 1,000 degrees Celsius, and to leave the prion there for hours. So with that information, it's shocking to me whenever I go into the Museum of Death in Hollywood and see a typical cannibal's menu, which includes brains with almonds and mashed brains. Yeah, okay, have fun with neurodegeneration.
I don't know if this is true, but I saw a report that Ellen DeGeneres has Kuru.
Huge symptom of psychosis is the inflation of meaning, where everything seems like it has some type of divine signal being sent to you, whether it's numbers, songs you hear in stores, eye contact, certain situations, certain signs, posters, words, numbers. Again, just the smallest little things, the smallest little details, and there's an influx of them. In your day-to-day life, if you are having 10 to 20 things where it feels like you're getting some kind of sign from the universe that something is going to happen or something is happening or some grand discovery has been, just unfolded into your life, that right there is a major, major symptom of psychosis. I personally had this happen when I was in the backseat of my friend's car on a 10-hour drive back from South Carolina, and all the signs on the highway seemed like they were speaking to me. I am not a medical professional by any means. I'm just sharing my own experiences, and if it is something you struggle with, I highly encourage you to seek professional help and take good care of yourself.
You guys remember this? Element 115. I remember it because I played a lot of Call of Duty Nazi Zombies when I was a kid, and this was a big part of the lore. I thought this was just a made-up thing because it's not naturally found on Earth, and it's kind of just like we didn't know if it existed or not. But Element 115 is actually real, and it's called Element 115 because it is the element with 115 protons. It's called moscovium. Like I said, this is completely man-made. It's not found on Earth. As far as I know, humans were only able to make this one time in a lab in Russia, and it immediately decayed into lighter material. It's very unstable. We were able to make it by smashing atoms together in a particle accelerator. Specifically, we had to smash together americium and calcium. But we can literally only get it to exist for a fraction of a second before it immediately decays. This is Bob Lazar, and he actually popularized Element 115 back in the 1980s. If you've never heard of him, essentially he is the most well-known UFO and alien whistleblower ever. And he was telling the public that aliens were using Element 115 to generate gravity fields and power their spacecrafts. But we have no idea if this would work because we have no way to create a stable version of Element 115.
The man who invented breakfast cereal tortured children's and America made him rich.
Now, what you're about to hear, every single parent deserves to know this.
John Harvey Kellogg ran a medical asylum where he treated masturbation. His cure was pouring acid on girls' clitorises and circumcising boys without anesthesia so they'd remember the pain. This is well documented. He wrote about it proudly. His solution to suppress sexual desire in children was bland processed grains. That is literally why cornflakes exist. His brother took that recipe and made Kellogg's, now worth $20 billion. Today, they hide inflammatory grains and toxic dyes behind talking tigers and toucan birds. Red 40, Yellow 6, all banned in other countries, fed to your children every day. These dyes are linked to hyperactivity, aggression, and learning issues. The same company that started with child torture now uses cartoons to sell chemical-laden grains that inflame your kid's brain and gut. How do you think your kid's behavior would change if they weren't getting drugged by ultra-processed garbage every morning? Listen, you already know what your kids need. You don't need a corporation that tortured children to tell you what to feed them. I believe every parent has an internal wisdom about their child's needs, but we've all been programmed to trust corporations over our instincts, to follow their schedule, their most important meal of the day. Trust yourself instead. You know when your kids are actually hungry and what they actually need, versus their programming that tells them to expect inflammatory grains at 7 a.m. They used to torture kids, now they use cartoons to poison them, and they're still trying to control how you feed your family. Maybe it's time to take your authority back. Share this with another parent who deserves to know who's behind their kid's breakfast.
Yeah, that's crazy because they use so many lights and colors and friendly characters that captures the kid's attention just for it to be straight poison and garbage. Isn't that crazy?
You know the guy that used to work for Ellen? DJ Twitch. Yeah. He tweeted something crazy. Oh, is that why? That's when he died. So, you know he tweeted while he was still alive? What? He tweeted, Ellen has eaten over 12,000 pizzas.
No, you're lying.
That's what he tweeted. And nobody understood what that tweet meant.
They'll name 3 names for your lady parts.
A mini move, a JJ, and a pizza. A pizza is like when someone's name.
Word.
Now that the file is out and now that these code words are coming clear, people are realizing this is what happened right before he died.
Twitch was literally healthy. I think on the show, he was always like positive. He was doing backflips. Like, he was mad healthy.
And I think he died of, was it pneumonia? Just like what happened to all the people Diddy was like enemies with.
Yeah.
Wait, let me make sure it was that. Let me just search it up. No, I'm thinking of somebody else. I'm thinking of someone else. So DJ Twitch was found in a motel room in Encino, California from a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Self-inflicted?
Yeah, that's one of the ways a lot of people, you know, are said to have died. Like, look at Kurt Cobain. People think they set up Charlie Kirk's microphone to actually cause a blast. That was the reason he died, not coming from a bullet. So remember Candace Owens did a video?
Yeah.
And then she was saying she never saw an exit wound from the shot he was shot in. There was another video and another person that put it through like a vector analysis to see the trajectory of the bullet and see how it would travel, and the way his body moved and the way the wind or the air pressure moved his shirt was wrong. Like, it shouldn't have moved like that if he got shot by a bullet. Now, what's really, really scary, in the background, there was videos in the background. Somebody close to him in the front was actually holding a device which people thought was a palm gun, which would have been like a pistol. But it wasn't. What people are now saying is that it was a detonator, that there was something in the mic that was right here that it shot something this way and it blasted that way.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna lie, like, the way, you're right, the way his shirt moved kind of went like this.
It went weird, right? Yeah. Now check this out. So in the same video, you can see somebody going, and this is way before the shooting. This is 5 minutes before. You'll see someone that goes, and then when 4 minutes hits, no. 3 minutes hits, yeah, 2 minutes hits, and then finally one, boom. After a minute, he gets shot. And then that same guy with the palm gun, right before he gets shot, click.
No.
Yeah. Yes. You can look at the video. Yeah. It's so crazy. It's really, really interesting.
I do remember seeing that video, like seeing the guy in the background and this like military looking dude. But I don't know if that would necessarily be smart for them to do though. Like just in the middle of the crowd, it's like, hey guys, 3, 2, 1. You know what I'm saying? I feel like eventually someone's gonna pick that up like we just did. But like I've said it in multiple videos, the Charlie Kirk rabbit hole just goes deep. And then plus with the Erica Kirk nonsense that's going on, it goes like deeper. It's like what really happened that day, I feel like isn't being fully told to the public.